bus takes up literally the whole road.
What was your inspiration for the Loam home?
Well, this book, Into the Wild, it tells the story of Chris McCandless as he travels around the country. Towards the end of the book, he ends up living in Alaska in a bus, so I thought that was pretty cool. I started planning about 2 years before I screwed in the first screw or even bought anything. Wanted to have every aspect of it researched out before I spent any money. I considered building a traditional tiny house, like one that gets pulled behind a car, converting like an RV and doing some different things, but the bus is what I ultimately decided on. Loam is a mountain biking term. It's for a type of trail condition where there's really soft, loose dirt over a layer of grippy, kind of muddy dirt, and it creates really great riding conditions. So we decided to name the bus the Loam Home. Fast on how we're going to do this. So the story of how I convinced my parents to let me do this is actually probably a 2-year long convincing period. I just talked to them every single day about it, just like when I got my speeding ticket and called the cop every day. They eventually just give in due to wearing them down, but yeah. Just like most things, I got my bus off of Craigslist and from a guy named Josh. He bought like 100 buses at the same time from Jeffco Public Schools. This bus used to belong to Air Academy High School up in Colorado Springs. So I've always had a knack for building, I would say. My grandpa taught me a lot. I would follow him around his house. He taught me how to wire electrical outlets when I was like 4 or 5, and I've just kind of grown from there, and this has definitely been a test of my skills. A lot of YouTube, for sure. The design process was a long one. I have tons of crumpled pieces of graph paper that have my design. I eventually settled on this one just because of how it seemed to fit everything together in a nice fashion. Looking at other people's designs and actually going and visiting a few people's to see what I liked and didn't like to make this one my own.
Do you have any concerns about living in a bus?
My only concern is that people think weird things about me, but then again, I don't really care what people think of me. Maybe the meth heads, but... Take what, for every project, how long you think it's going to take, double that and then double it again, and you're probably like halfway there. In order to make it look nice, it has to look like you didn't do a lot of work, which is what requires a ton of work. So to make it all look simple and elegant and like clean, takes a lot of work to make it look like you didn't do a lot of work. So it's pretty interesting. For mail in the bus, what some people will do is set up like a P.O. box, and then just as they move around, switch the P.O. box location. Or I might get it forwarded to my work. I'm not sure yet. I mean, I don't like the bank coming after me anyways, so. I mean, every stage has been nice. Like, bathroom was great because then I could use the bathroom in here. Wood burning stove was even better because then I wasn't freezing every night. Like, every major thing just gets me more excited. The hardest part so far was the demolition, clearing everything out. Ripping the seats out. Each one weighs like 125 pounds and there was 40 of them. They were bolted and welded to the floor, so took about like 45 minutes a seat. I guess one of the funniest things was I was down underneath the bus working on getting some plumbing hooked up, and my neighbor came by and walked inside, and I heard him walking around, and he came out, looked all confused, and I just said hi and scared the living daylight out of him because I popped out right underneath where he was stepping. Oh yeah, I have like someone over almost every night that wants to come and see it. It's pretty cool, all the support I've gotten. And yes, on Instagram there's a whole community of people who live out of their buses or are currently converting their buses, and even though some of them live in different states, we all we even call each other and share ideas and everything, and it's pretty cool.
How does your family handle you just like living in a bus now?
I'm not really sure because I'm not around to see, but I think they might enjoy it because, or I guess my siblings don't enjoy it because they have to take my share of the chores and do them, and yeah, I think my parents are fine with it. So the progress that I've made since you guys were last here, I've got the floor in, I've got the bed in. That was a major upgrade, so much better than sleeping in a hammock. My back enjoys it. Yeah, I finished the floor, got the ceiling in here done, got more walls up, got my fridge in, wood burning stove in, security system in, dash cams in, a lot more electrical in, solar panels up, finished some more plumbing, a lot of work. So there's many reasons that I decided to pursue living in a bus. The first one is financial sense. You can get a house that's mobile, moves around with you. So since I'm at that stage in life where I'm not sure where I want to settle down and I might want to move around a lot, I can keep moving around without having to switch houses or find roommates or rent places. It also is, in the end, going to cost me about 1 year's rent in Colorado's market, so it'll start making money after a year in terms of what I can save and invest. The second reason that I decided to pursue bus life was I'm a minimalist, and this forces me to keep my possessions low. Everything I've read says that the more possessions that you have, the more unhappy you will be, and with this smaller living space I won't have the option to buy new things or get new things, so I think it'll just promote a happier lifestyle. So one thing that I didn't expect to happen when moving into a bus is, turns out that people of the female type really enjoy and are interested in this sort of thing, and so it's been quite interesting to have girls who had never talked to me before be like, hey, can I come see the bus, or do you want to hang out? I think what you're doing is super cool, and it's pretty entertaining. So I feel like security is a bit more important when you're in a bus because, it's like breaking into a car pretty much. So we've got Ted here. He's my security guard. He's pretty great, but if Ted and I aren't around, I've got cameras and a bunch of cameras all around the bus. Also, the bus is actually pretty hard to start if you don't know how to do it. So it'd be interesting to try and see someone drive away with it. All the doors lock and everything, so yeah.
So, the bus is definitely taking longer than expected. I think it's fair to say. What drives you to keep working on it?
I have nowhere else to turn. Now, the sense of accomplishment and getting it done, and I guess I'm too far in right now to quit.
Yeah, but it's pissed.
It is, yeah.